What's up, y'all? We're back here with the Eron podcast, and I'm here with my guest, Asiah Avent, with Seton Hall Basketball.
Yes, sir.
So, just talk about, your upbringing, growing up in Jersey. Your dad played in the NBA. Dad's a Seton Hall great, and, you played with a ton of talent growing up. Talk about that.
Growing up for me, like going through middle school, I just knew basketball was going to be for me because, like you mentioned, my father, he played in the NBA. So just going to the gym and like just shooting around, everybody would know my dad from what he did was playing basketball. And that just was something that I wanted to do as well, just be remembered as doing the sport and playing that sport. So growing up, I went to 3 different high schools, and growing up in New Jersey, playing basketball is probably one of the hardest things to do. Mm-hmm. I think New Jersey creates a lot of like basketball players, and it creates a lot of toughness and grit and grind. Because in New Jersey, if you don't bring it, like every game, you don't get showed out. And no matter who you are, like you got to be ready to play. So I think Jersey as a whole, like basketball-wise, is really good because if you look in the past few years, like the draft classes, like you see Kyrie, Karl-Anthony Towns, Michael Gilchrist, Kyle Anderson, they all came from New Jersey, So I think Jersey was very special, like to have those talented players to play. And for me, growing up playing basketball, I had the opportunity of playing like a lot of those players that went to the NBA as well. Like I had the opportunity of playing Karl-Anthony Towns, had the opportunity of playing Wade Baldwin, who went to Vanderbilt. He played in the NBA for a few years, and I had the opportunity of playing Brian Tyree, who's at Ole Miss. So just going to New Jersey, it was never like a day off to me because you always like play somebody that went to a high Division I level or went overseas or played in the NBA as well.
All right, so let's talk about your high school years. What was your high school experience like in Jersey? I know you say you went to 3 different high schools. Talk about that experience and how tough was it going from school to school?
My freshman year, I went to a school called Immaculata. So this was a Catholic school for me, and I went there for the first 2 years of high school. That school for me was a game changer because I went to school with Wade Baldwin before he transferred to St. Joe's. So Wade Baldwin was a highly recruited freshman, highly recruited sophomore who played for Sports U. And he pretty much was somebody that, as a freshman, when coming to the school, he was already a sophomore, and he already been through the grind of like what to do and what not to do. So he pretty much like took me on his wing, and he pretty much showed me like the things of like how to be a good player. So being at Immaculata for his first 2 years was something special because nobody knew how high Wade could have went within college basketball and within the NBA. So just seeing him go far and be able to be like playing under his wing, it showcased me as a basketball player as well at an early age. So being at Immaculata for my first 2 years was a welcome call because I played varsity, and I started JV my freshman year. Actually, I started JV for my freshman year, and then I had varsity time. Like I was playing varsity my freshman year, and it was very like difficult for me at first because I was just adjusting. I was just coming out of high school in 8th grade, and my body wasn't developed enough to play against the seniors in high school. But I had to adapt quickly. And by my sophomore year, I would say I adapted pretty quickly. And that year was actually an adjustment year for me because that's when Wade had ended up transferring to St. Joe's. So for me, for somebody I was looking up to and somebody that I was like pretty much under their wing, I had to become like a team leader for that team as well because now when you lose one of your key players, the coach is looking for somebody else to be like a controller or a leader. So at the very young age, my sophomore year, I was pretty much like somebody that a lot of people was looking up to because there was a lot of expectation on me and the team for that following year. Going through my sophomore year, we had a decent year. I wouldn't say we had a bad year, but we had a decent year. And then my junior year, I ended up wanting to go to another high school. So I went to the school called Piscataway. And Piscataway was a conference that was really, really hard. And Piscataway was a team that was adjusting to new players as well. When I transferred to Piscataway, we had I like to say 4 new players, and those 4 new players was all new starters too. So we was just adjusting as players, trying to get to know each other, trying to mix and try to see like what parts of like the game works for us and how we click on the court at a small amount of time too. So that first year at Piscataway was an adjusting year as well because we just didn't know how to play together as a team. But with the talent that we did have, we had a special year. We ended up playing Joe's, which had a team of Carl Towns, Marcus Towns, who went to Loyola Chicago, and he was a part of that team that had the Sweet 16 run.
Right.
And then we ended up playing Brandon Tyree was a freshman, Wade Baldwin, like I mentioned, and then Carl Anthony Towns again. So that team had actually 5 Division I players, not just 4. The whole roster, like the whole starting 5 was Division I. So, I mean, and we played them twice in our conference too. So just growing up and playing those teams twice was something like, I think special and is like unique because not a lot of people in a lot of states in the country play like 5 Division I players. And then they don't have an opportunity playing 2 NBA players. So that was just something like special, like seeing and being able to be like in that mix. And then even Tyus Battle, I used to go against Tyus Battle, who's now in the NBA too, who played for he played for St. Joe's also, but he went to another school called Gil St. Bernard's, and me and Tyus always went at it. And it was just a lot of good battles between me and Tyus, a lot of wars going on too. And then going into my senior year, I ended up transferring to a town that I lived in, which was called Franklin Township. So I went to Franklin High School for my final year. And that year was pretty much like a big adjustment year too, because that previous year before I went to Franklin, they won not one game. Like there was 0 and I think 21 or 24. So going to that school, I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, why am I going here? Like it was just 0-24. Like how you think I'm gonna do? So my dad pretty much wanted to test me. Like he always wanted me to adjust to new different life situations. And I think that's a great life skill too, like being able to adapt in new situations and just be able to like say, okay, like I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna have to figure it out. So I think that adjusted me going on with life continuing to this day. But like rewinding back to Franklin, they was on 24, I think. They won about one game. And I went to Franklin my senior year, and that was the year I had went to the top 100 camp. So I had gotten the invite to go to the top 100 camp, and I got a like invitation to play out there. And just playing with those players, I was in the top 100, like Ben Simmons, we had Taco Fall, DeAndre Murray. It was just pretty much everybody you see in the NBA right now that's doing really well, like De'Aaron Fox, like all of them. It was all in the top 100. And for me, going against them was something special because it wasn't like it was a big gap between those players in the NBA and me. So going back into my senior year, I had a lot of confidence. And I'd like to say we had a very special year my senior year as well. Our first game, we won our game, and all the players like celebrating like it was like Christmas because they haven't won in like a few years. So they wasn't used to like the winning tradition. But for me, I just treated it like another day. And I told the team like we just gotta continue to like win throughout the whole season. We can't just let this one game be like our big one. So throughout the whole year, we had a pretty good year. My highlight for my senior was when I had like 30 points against a team called Pingree in the counties. So that was like a big highlight for me because that was like one of the most points I scored in a high school game. And going to my senior year, I just like had a lot of confidence going into college too, just how I started my year and ended my year as well. But for me, like going to 3 different high schools, it was just like adjustment. Like you just got to change. You just got to adapt to new habits, how new coaches, how this team schemes against you. So it was really good because I went to 3 different high schools and 3 different conferences. So you playing against 3 different teams, not 3 different teams, but you playing against like all different teams in the county. And you just got to know like how to play against these styles of teams, which was really cool and really like impressive to go through.
Yeah, for sure. So, talk about your time at Horford, getting recruited to play there. Talk about, going to school there, leaving your home state to go to Connecticut.
Yeah, actually, after my senior year, I wasn't really sure where I was going to go for college. I went to the University of Hartford in Connecticut. And for me, that was, once again, it was just like an adjustment year for me too, because I wasn't academically eligible my freshman year to play at Hartford. So that year, when you're not academically eligible, you just can't practice at all, so you can't do nothing. So I spent a lot of days in the intramural gym just practicing, working out with just like the regular students. And to this day, my best friend J.R. Lynch, who went to Hartford, and then Trey, they was on the basketball team, and they knew me because they knew I could hoop. So they always had me work out with them after practice or before practice. Me and JR was going at it early in the morning at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock a.m. before our 8 a.m. classes. Like, we used to just work out every day religiously. So going to Hartford for my freshman year was like, it wasn't a big like downer for me because I didn't play my freshman year, but I was down like a little bit because I wasn't on an official team, but I was still playing with like the players and stuff, playing pickup, playing one-on-one with the players. And for me, just knowing that I could play with those players, I knew I could play like on that level, on a Division I level. And my sophomore year, going to Hartford again, I had the chance to play for the team, and things didn't go how I expected. And I didn't want to just waste a year of not doing nothing again. So one of the coaches for the girls team at Hartford, they told me that I was going to be able to practice with them, like, because I wasn't going to be able to practice with the men's team because of different reasons and different issues that was going on with me and the head coach at the men's team. But being able to practice and do different things within the girls team, it showed me like different parts of my basketball game, because I had to be able to know how to shoot more, just use my skills a little bit more, and lessen on my tone on my body and being aggressive with the girls, because when you're playing against girls, sometimes you can't be as aggressive as you are against men. So I just learned the nuances, how to just like play the game without being like too physical, just being able to be smart, like knock down an open shot, just pull ups, open layups when I have it, and just being a better basketball player. So going to Hartford for those 2 years, I would say was very difficult because I wasn't on an official team. But at the same time, it was something good for me because I just learned resilience and determination and how to just keep going to the gym and working on your game, just being like humble and just being like open-minded, like I'm still going to make it somewhere and I'm still going to play basketball somewhere. I just don't know where I was going to be at that moment. But I had hope that I was going to play Division I at somewhere. And the coaches knew like I could have played on the team. It was just like different reasons on why I wasn't like officially on the team and being able to practice and stuff. But I just knew like I was able to play Division I basketball. I just didn't know where I was going to end up when I was at Hartford. I always knew I was going to transfer. I just didn't know when was the right move to.
So you landed at Seton Hall, and we were there together for that 1 year. Talk about that sit-out year and then your 2 years after that.
Yeah, once again, like when I went to Seton Hall, I lost a lot of credits when I went to Seton Hall. So the coach that I knew originally when I first went to Seton Hall was Shaheem Holloway. He's now at St. Peter's. And I went to a practice actually that you guys had over the summertime, and I saw all you guys practicing and just seeing you guys at the gym, and then seeing all the banners, like the 1989 basketball team that went to championship, the Big East championship team that won it in 2016. Just seeing all the banners and like the accomplishments that Seton Hall been through, it was something that I wanted to go through also. So just seeing everybody, like you guys, like Angel, Desi, Kadeem, you guys all greeted me like a family. Miles Powell, you all like openly like a family. Y'all wasn't just like closed-minded. It was like, oh, who's this kid here? Like you guys welcomed me into the program. So the first year when I was at Seton Hall wasn't like a bummer to me because I knew I would have had to sit out because of like credits. So it was just, what can I do to be on a roster next year? Like, how can I show coach that I could play on the team next year or be a walk-on for the team next year? So I was just trying to be around as many like days as possible. Like you could tell I was at the practices every day for you guys. Like when I was sitting out, and the only like down days I really had was when you guys had away games, because obviously I wasn't around you guys, or I wasn't traveling with you guys. And then I would see videos of you guys taking videos like NBA gyms. I'm like, dang, I wish I was there. But I just knew like there was gonna be brighter days for me. So I would just like remaining humble, staying in the gym, and just staying consistent. But the main thing for me was just academically trying to get eligible too. I was like I like to say 21 credits behind. So when I went to Seton Hall, we even had a class. So I
Yeah.
took like 6 classes in one semester, and I took 2 classes over the summertime. And the one coach that stuck by my side was Coach Grant. And he always told me, like, how's your grades doing? How's your grades doing? Because he didn't really care about the basketball side of that, like, of it. He knew I was going to be on the team that final year. I just didn't know. But every time I would see him, he would just ask, how's my grades doing? So whenever I realized, like, why does he keep asking about my grades and not how's basketball? I realized, like, I was going to be on the team if I just did what I had to do on the homework aspect. So that first year at Seton Hall was, like, adjustment year because the curriculum, like, the homework assignments, the tests, just the school overall was, like, just different from where I was at, which was hard for it. And I would say, like, Seton Hall was a little harder. So I had to buckle down and focus even more. But to me, I had the ability of doing that because at Seton Hall, it's not really like a party school. It's not really like a school where, I mean, you're going to have fun at Seton Hall, but for us, you can relate. Like, we're only going to really have fun, like, on a basketball aspect at Seton Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my sit-out year, like, it was boring. So I didn't have nothing to do but just be in the gym or extra help in the classroom or just get my grades right. So that first year was like, I mean, it was adjusting, but it was good for me because I just saw like an other side to me because like I realized it's not just basketball, it's like grades too. That's important. If you don't got the grades, you can't play. So that was like a big year for me, my first year. But my second year, when I was eligible to play for Seton Hall, um, that's when we lost everybody. We lost you, we lost Jordan Walker, we lost all the seniors. So we lost Desi, Angel, Ish, Kadeen, and we lost Phil from a transfer who was a walk-on also. So everybody saw us as like a team that was going to be bottom of the Big East. And the group that we had was somebody that it was like, we was a group that nobody really like truly saw like how hard we worked. And being on the team for that first year was special because of how hard we worked. And I just like really loved being around that team because I could relate on how hard they worked because how hard I worked just to be eligible for the play. So that's why I say like Seton Hall basketball, like to this day, like we're all family. Like even you're still family to us, you know. But being there like the second year was like really like great because we was underdogs the whole year. Like nobody expected us to win. Was ranked 9th in the Big East. Every time we went to go lift, Jason had us like as number 9 Big East basketball team. He'd write it on his like chalkboard. So every day we're going to a weight room, we'll see that as motivation.
That sounds like Jason.
Yeah, like we'll see it as motivation, as something like we need to get better. Like every day we walked in the weight room, like we're all smacking teeth. Like Jason, come on, man!
Yeah,
Like
well,
you
so
really
funny
writing
is
number 9? Yeah, like
me and Kadeem
yeah,
we were always in the same weight group, and what's so funny is they had our list of the guards that were in the Big East. I think I was the 4th heaviest guard, and Dean was like the 5th heaviest guard. I think Miles was like the 3rd heaviest guard, and like Jalen Brunson, he was like, I believe like 10 pounds more than all of us. And like I think with John Rothstein, he wrote an article saying, Jalen Brunson's going to be playing bully ball with the guards in the Big East. So he had that article, and every single time we missed the rep or anything, he would have that entire like newspaper sheet. He printed it out, and he would show that to us every single time we couldn't finish a rep.
That's the thing I love about Seton Hall too. Like the coaching staff, the academic advisors, the training staff, like they all know how to like get under our skin and like make us want to be better. So just seeing that in the weight room every day was like something like just enough for us. Like that's all the motivation we needed for that year. So when we was in the weight room, we were just mad, getting ready to get bigger. When we was in the practice gym, we didn't like joke around. We was all serious every day in practice. And that's what took us to the level that we were at this year too. And that year was just incredible. That was my first year, like being in Madison Square Garden, and everything was just eye-opening to me. Like, dang, like I really like got to this like level of D1 basketball, and I'm really seeing a whole different side. We went to California and we won a tournament out there, and that's when we started getting a little buzz. Like, oh, Seton Hall is not like a team that lost 4 seniors. They're still a team that still have players still. And we had Quincy, we had Twin, we had Miles, Kel, Sandro, Vo was playing. We had we was really like getting in the groove of like being a true team. And we came back home and we ended up playing, I think, Kentucky at Madison Square Garden. And that was probably one of the greatest games I've ever been a part of in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Because just the whole magnitude, playing in the Mecca, playing in the world's famous gym, and playing in one of the highly known schools in the country, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
That was like something that everybody want to dream of. Like either you want to go to Kentucky, and if you don't got the opportunity to go to Kentucky, you want to play them. You want to play the Blue Bloods. Like you want to play Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. And if you have an opportunity to play those schools, you always want to beat them. You don't want to lose to them. You don't want to just say, "Oh, I played them and like we lost." Like you want to have the opportunity to say, "I played Kentucky and beat them," just for bragging rights.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just like a special moment for us because like the game was just packed and like seeing us trending on Twitter after the game, like #1 trending, like Seton Hall men's basketball was on Bleacher Report, was on everything that year too. So that's when we started getting a lot of buzz. Like my first year coming back as a player at Seton Hall. But I just give a lot of respect to the players I was playing as well. Like Miles, he just put on an amazing show that year. And that's why he's at the level that he's at right now too. And going into this year was a little different. You could attest to it too. Seton Hall never really was like a team that was like a top dog.
Mm-hmm.
We was always like the underdog. Like we always wanted to take the food. We was always the people that was like unexpected, like slept on. So for us to be like the top dog was a little different for us. But we had a hard non-conference schedule. I think coach always remember us, like told us that we had the second hardest non-conference schedule in the country. And we started off playing with Michigan State. We played Oregon this year. We played Iowa State twice. So we played like really tough teams this year in the non-conference. And knowing the Big East, and the Big East is one of the hardest conferences also too. It was at one point we had like 5 ranked teams in the Big East, or 6, I like to say. So this year was like not adjustment year because we was on top, but it was just more like a different year for us because we was on top. And like I mentioned, like just a year ago was at the bottom of the Big East. Just another year fast forward was at the top, like ranked #1 in the Big East. And whenever you're #1, you gotta break it every game because the team it's gonna be a team that's always gonna beat you, wanna beat you. Like I mentioned, like Kentucky, like everybody wanna beat Kentucky. And that's how it was for us this year. Like everybody wanted to beat Seton Hall. And when they did beat Seton Hall, it was like a Christmas for them. They all celebrated on their home court, started storming the courts. Like when we played Providence this year, they stormed the court when we lost to them. And it was like, why are they all storming the court after a regular season game? But we had to realize how big we was this year. And this year we won a Big East regular season title, and that was the first time since 1993. And going to my last year, I was just try to take it all in because we went to Italy before the season started over the summer, and we just got closer and closer as a team. We went to the Bahamas on Thanksgiving and played one of the biggest tournaments, which had North Carolina, had us, I had Michigan in it, I had Gonzaga. So if you think about it, it was like a lot of top 10 teams in that tournament at once. So this year was just like a big year for us, and unfortunately it ended like quickly for us and unexpectedly. But we did have like big expectations going into March Madness. But I think people know like we did a really good job at the end of the year because we was #1 in the Big East. Like we still got a regular season banner that's going to come down by next year. And that was the first time since 1993. And, like winning a regular season title is one of the hardest things to do in college basketball, especially in the Big East where all the great teams that's in it. So this year was just like phenomenal. Like I went to 2 different countries I've never been in. In the past 2 years, I went to states I've never been at. And it was just eye-opening just seeing like what basketball would like take me in life.
For sure. So, talk about what your plans are when you're done, playing and, you're out of Seton Hall and graduated.
When I was going through the transfer process, I always knew like basketball was going to end at some time. I don't know when. So I always wanted to pick the right school that had the right degree. Mm-hmm. And this was something that we talked about 2 when you was going over the transfer process,
Mm-hmm.
you will always say like, but this degree would be better than this degree.
Mm-hmm.
And you could attest to it. Like, you always would talk to me and say like, the school that you're at now was ranked, like, I think you told me the other day, like number 2
Mm-hmm.
in like the state as one of the best schools.
Yeah.
So if you just look at like the school and be like, oh, I want to go there and play, you also got to look at the academics too. And
Yeah.
Seton Hall matched up with the basketball program. Their school program matched up with the basketball program. So for me, I study criminal justice. So right now, you would never know like when basketball will start back up with this pandemic that's going on with this virus. And I know the one thing that I always will have is my education, which is something that nobody can take away. And me studying criminal justice is something big, because if you look at what's going on right now with this world, all the jobs that has been taken away, criminal justice, like law enforcement, technology, nursing is one of the main jobs that's still open to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing that I went into the right like major for me is pretty much good, because I know I'm still going to be good if I don't have basketball in the near future. But for me, after graduation, I do still have hopes of going overseas.
Mm-hmm.
But say I don't go overseas because of the virus, we don't know what countries may allow players to come into the country, or we just don't know when the virus will be cleared to play basketball, Say that happens and I have to go into like my career field, I like to go into like law enforcement. And this is another reason why I love Seton Hall, because the opportunities and the people that you meet, you just like see a whole nother side to the world, where when basketball stops, you pretty sure that you still gonna have a career in what you study just by going to Seton Hall, just by the connections that you meet with the people. So I know a couple of people, and I met somebody that works in Washington D.C., and I know some people that works in New York, and I know people that work in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm just weighing my options right now, even though I'm still not graduating yet. Like, I still have 2 months before graduation,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like, every senior right now, I feel like they already graduated, because like really we're not in class, we're not, on campus with our friends. So like it feels like real world is already kicking in. So we really got to know like what's our next step, like by tomorrow, and we can't like sit and like wait on it. We just got to go get it. So for me, I just want to see like where this pandemic, what the virus takes us. If overseas is like prolonged and it's like a long time until people could go overseas, of course I'm gonna go into my profession, which is criminal justice and law enforcement.
For sure. So tell everyone where you can follow you at.
My name is Asiah Avent on Instagram, ZAYAVENT on Instagram, and it's the same thing on Twitter as well.
All right, for sure. Thank you for joining the podcast.
All right, thank you, my boy.
For sure.